Welcome to Lesson 102 of the DSC Sport Tuning Academy, Establishing a Wi-Fi Connection. Setting up Wi-Fi connection is actually pretty simple. In a lot of ways, it's actually easier than using a USB cable. We're going to start by going to the DSC Sport website, to the firmware page, and there we're going to download just a few files to make sure our Wi-Fi micro is up to date. So once you're on the firmware page, if you navigate to the hyperlink on the text Wi-Fi there, this may be moved in the future. Here right now it's just kind of here while we're in beta mode. You're going to download these files in a zipped folder, and I'm just going to go ahead and download a PDTS file to have on hand to use in an example in this lesson later on here. So bear with me just 1 minute. Alright, and once we finish downloading our files, we are going to actually connect to the DSC Sport controller now that we won't be needing the internet. You should be able to see the DSC Sport device in your available networks. It's usually just DSC dash some number. Open your browser back up, go to 10.10.10.1, and then it should load the DSC Sport tuning software, but in your browser window, because we are now using Wi-Fi. The first thing you want to do is just make sure your Wi-Fi micro is up to date. Those files that we downloaded earlier in the firmware section. Just going to go ahead and unzip those. And take a look at those files. They should end in a .css, .gz, and a .js.gz file extension. Make sure you actually go in, browse for the files, and open them this way rather than just dragging and dropping. That can cause the program to freeze up. And do the same thing with the other file. Now, if you scroll down and go to the Settings tab, you should see the Wi-Fi SSID and password field. These files that we just dropped in there introduce this feature, and that's how you know that those files took. And just like we did in our very first lesson with a USB cable, we're going to start by performing a read all function. You can see a progress here in the bottom of the screen. Bear in mind, depending on the strength of your connection, this can take a little bit longer than the USB cable now that we are using Wi-Fi. Small trade-off for the added convenience. You're just going to want to make sure that you don't do anything to disrupt the connection while this progress bar is loading. Then you will have to go back through and make sure that you write a PDTS file to your controller because this could clear it if you disrupt the connection. And I have sped this up here quite a bit, so don't be concerned if yours takes quite a bit longer to read all the files off your controller. Now, there are a few things about the Wi-Fi software that are a little bit different than the desktop software, so I am just going to run through one very important function here. I'm going to show you how to open a new PDTS file because it's a little bit different than in the normal software. So you want to go back up to the Files tab, go to Open. Earlier you saw that I downloaded that PDTS file, so we're just going to grab that one. And you're going to load it in here. You can see that the file is queued up here. There's one more step that we need to do. We need to go back to the navigation menu, go down to settings, and here where it says load from file, just click that file name that should appear as a button, and then it will actually load all the data into the software. So this wraps up our lesson today. You now know how to establish communication and open a PDTS file using the Wi-Fi. Stay tuned for our next lesson, and happy tuning.